Hello, well, welcome to lesson 2. We will be paying attention to the exemptions in the statute, for Florida Board of Massage Therapy and its makeup, and initial licensure and qualification for licensure. I'm going to screen share here, going to let you see the actual statute, 480.034. This is verbatim from the statute, and what you see here are chapters from other healthcare professions, aesthetics, barbers and cosmetology, and nursing. Also, what you will also see here is that athletic trainers are employed or working on behalf of a professional athletic team. What this means is that people can come down to do spring training with the baseball teams. There's a whole variety of issues regarding physical trainers, physical fitness, personal fitness. All of these people who are employed by a team are exempted from licensure in the state. The last exemption, number 4, that's highlighted, an exemption granted is effective to the extent that an exempted person's practice or profession overlaps with the practice of massage, has many examples and possibilities when we look at dual licensure. So part of what I'm going to do is turn off the screen share and remind you that dual licensure is a very important issue. Some people have an aesthetics license, some people are nurses, some people are physical therapists or occupational therapists, and they do manual therapies. They may have a massage license. Think about cosmetology or barbers. Those are people who actually have the ability to do a neck and shoulder massage, or in the case of aesthetics, a facial massage, or manicure, pedicure, where they're going to work specifically on the feet or specifically on the fingers. So an overlap can happen in a lot of different ways. A chiropractor may do massage therapy, an acupuncturist may do some kind of Tui Na, manual muscle movements. So this is a very important exemption. We have a scope of practice that allows us to work with the superficial tissues, soft tissues of the human body, and all massage therapists have a varying scope of practice depending on their clinical experience, as well as years in practice, as well as training and education. When we go back to the actual statute, and we can see what the Board of Massage comprehension is, what the actual board makeup is. I think that that will be a helpful reminder for all of you. I'm also putting out a public service announcement. I think it's very important for people to give back to their profession, and I think it would be excellent for some of you to maybe consider being a board member. Board members are appointed by the governor. They serve a 4-year term. There are 5 licensed massage therapists as board members, and then 2 lay people. So that gives us a total of 7 board members. They represent all over the state. The 2 who are not massage therapists are considered consumer members, and many times people who've worked in other industries or have served on other boards may qualify to be involved with the massage therapy board. At this time, there cannot be anyone who is a school owner or a CE provider on the Board of Massage. For whatever reason, that's deemed by the Florida Attorney General and lawyers for the governors that they believe that massage school owners, CE providers, teachers at schools should not qualify to be board members. They do meet quarterly. Actually, the board could meet by phone as well, and that happens on a regular basis, that the Board of Massage has phone meetings. It is public meetings. Those Very formal meetings have agendas and paperwork that you can read the case by case number and by the information, whether it's a history case or a discipline case or initial licensure case. All of these are open record. Much information is redacted in terms of the person's address and pertinent information like that. But yes, indeed, you can listen in, you can read the materials. There's also minutes up on the website. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second and remind you that the board website is really an excellent resource. Many times when I need something quickly, thinking about an establishment application for someone, I can access that pretty quickly. And for me, I also think it's important to be able to do a license lookup on somebody, and I happen to be a CE broker provider, so I have to go onto the website and post hours. So now I'm going to share the website for the Board of Massage. Every page has information for you. It's fairly standardized. As we hit this, one of the great opportunities that you're going to have is to renew online, and so we will cover that in another lesson towards the end. I guess the last thing I would just want you to understand from that section on the Board of Massage, that all of the meetings from many years ago have been archived and are available for public search. This is the information that you might read, called a FAR notice. You would also be able to see the different addresses of where they're going to be, as well as the phone number and the call-in. I think at this time, the other thing that you could pay attention to is a license lookup. Many times people come to me and they talk to me and they ask me about a particular location, and I say to them, well, have you done a license lookup? So I just wanted to do a live internet reminder, and we can just put in a name and we can get all the counties. So there's lots of Soothing Palms. Right, Fort Myers, Jacksonville. So we'll look at one in Jacksonville. And so here we are, we have a license verification. There's actually a friendly printer version. You can see that this license is null and void. And if we look on that, can't quite tell. Oh. Null and void. Let's see what null and void says. A practitioner failed to renew their license for 2 renewal cycles, resulting in their license expiring. Practitioner no longer obliged to update his or her profile. Well, there you go. And I'm going to get rid of that. So sometimes it's kind of nice to just see a live screen of something. You'll notice that the original license date is there, any discipline on file, and this is for an establishment. Let's go back a couple, because let's look at Soothing Palms in Venice. So here's one that isn't null and void. It says clear, right? And again, it has the original issue date, right? We're all going to renew in 2015. That's the point of this whole class. Now, the new record that you're seeing is supervising practitioners. And Stephen Goodman. Okay. Let's see. We're going to go back to the board website. A big issue for us as we do this will be a renewal. We will have a whole lesson on the renewal. Okay, so now I'm going to stop sharing this. And the next piece here from the Board of Massage is that we will be having a license. And most people, when we're thinking about having a license, have gone to some massage school. They have documented some hours, and they have sent a transcript and taken an exam. So over and over again, when we're thinking about the reason for licensure, right, to protect the public from unlicensed activity, one of the main jobs of the Board of Massage is to initiate or regulate licensure. In Florida, there are 36,000 massage therapists at this time, and I'm going to date this lesson because this is coming to the end of the renewal year for 2015. It is May 25th or May 28th, 2015. And we've had many, many issues where people are now in the license renewal time and they have not done their fingerprinting or not done their continuing education. So there's a busy time at the office, and you would be very wise not to try to call. If you have an email contact with someone or you've been in contact with someone, that will be your case manager. They're supposed to respond to emails, and if they don't respond to emails, it would be very advantageous for you to keep those records and share those with the executive director at some point. Initial licensure in this time frame, 2015 onward, is to take the MLEX. The licensure exam, single licensure exam, is the MLEX, and that is the standard at this moment. Fingerprinting is a big issue, and this is probably a good time to talk about that in terms of initial licensure and background checking. You are required to do a live scan. The live scan is a picture and digital printing of your fingerprints. And when you do that, you are authorizing an FBI background check and an FDLE background check. So if you have an application into the Board of Massage and you have answered no on a question like, have you ever had a DUI, or have you been arrested for shoplifting, or other, grand theft auto, something like that, if you're trying to hide that from the board and you have that on your record, it will show up on your background check. Most massage schools are trying to be sure that they are not accepting students who would fail a background check. I think that would be an ethical thing to do. There are people who have information in their background that was within the last 15 years, and it's outlined in the statute what those areas are. Very high crimes, federal crimes, sometimes having to do with Medicare fraud, Medicaid fraud. So there's a whole group of people who are not, they're screened out from going to massage school because of the length of time of the statute in the state of Florida. Literally 15 years is a huge amount of time for someone to be prevented from getting any kind of license. Sure. That would be real estate, from what I understand, pilot's license, pharmacy tech, all different fields. If you've had these felonies, that you would be prevented from obtaining a license. So I think I'm going to screen share just the last little bit of text again, just so that you can know where we're talking about. And the text will pop up a little bit bigger here in just a second. For me, the highlights are really what I would like for you to pay attention to. This section on the Board of Massage is short, but I talked a fair amount about it. And then, of course, there's some commentary. This section on investigative services, we'll see a bit more of that in the discipline, so that will be its own section. What I just talked about in terms of licensure and examination, course of study, and then a passing grade. And so really, all of you are massage therapists. I think the one thing that would be helpful for a lot of you to be aware of is that people do want to come into the state from somewhere else, and they do need to have had some kind of testing, and they do need to be sure to have taken a prevention of medical errors class, that they have taken a law, 10 hours of laws and rules, and that their transcripts meet certain standards. The other interesting thing about this section in the statutes, there's a little thing here that it talks about the board shall adopt rules. And so when I read the laws and rules, and as a regulatory member, this is what I would refer to. Sometimes we're directed by the legislature to do something very specifically, and other times we are allowed to and given authority to adopt rules. So couple of things that I think would be important as we do this. You can see that in letter C, specifying licensing procedures for practitioners. They would have to be equivalent to, more stringent than the standards of this state. One last piece, as we do this, there really are not many apprentice programs. This is something that is fairly outdated and subject to repeal. Colonic therapy have really, I think it's called colon hydrotherapy now. I think that was a thing that would differentiate it as a therapy and really solidify it under the Board of Massage. I'm not really going to talk much about colonic therapy in this particular review. And I think that the most important thing that we can see for people who are coming to this state from somewhere else, and what they really need or want, is to get a Florida license. I hear many, many times that it's hard, it's difficult, it's just an issue getting a hold of the board. I think I absolutely understand, and in the scheme of things, the board has many, many cases in front of it. Many people had failed background checks or failed to do fingerprinting, so the Board of Massage, the Board of Acupuncture, the Board of Osteopathy have a tremendous number of cases that they're prosecuting and formulating for distribution. So I think this is a good place to end. I'm going to summarize just a little bit. In the Board of Massage Therapy, we have 7 members. They are appointed to 4-year terms. The governor appoints them, and the Senate actually approves them. This is a person who is either a consumer, there are 2 consumers, or a massage therapist. They must have been a massage therapist for 5 years, and essentially they're a volunteer position. And then there's quite an overlap between massage therapy and other professions like nursing, osteopathy, chiropractic, physical therapy, occupational therapy. The manual use and manipulation of the skin happens across many, many fields. So in every statute you see an exemption section, and these are chapters that actually physically are licensed by the state. Some of those are podiatrists, physicians, acupuncture, physical therapy, athletic training, many, many chapters, plus cosmetology, barbers, and cosmetology and aesthetics. And then, of course, there's all of the nursing and allied health. So we have some very clear overlap in exemptions. We have a board of massage that has actually been in service for many, many years, since the 1940s. We have the ability to do investigations. And then, of course, within the statute, there is a licensure process, and then, of course, transfer credit, or what we're calling endorsement, where people can come from another state. And then this is also the section that physically authorizes the Board of Massage to be able to create rules and to develop things based on what's happening out in the field. The board, the rules, the establishment of an entry-level credential, all of these are mandated by the legislature to actually protect the public from unqualified and unlicensed practice. Thanks for listening to Lesson 2. Hope you're having fun, and I want you to see the next section. We're headed into licensure renewal, grounds for discipline, and massage establishments. Bye-bye.